Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Today, let's talk about 9 things that threaten your resolve to marry a Filipina. I talked about scamming, time to know her, younger wife, the visa process, communication, and distance in the recent video that is a part of a series where I will talk about some possible threats to your comfort zone in meeting and marrying a Filipina, a woman from the Philippines. Prior to that, I touched on cultural issues and interracial issues. I have 9 more threats today. Leave comments if you can relate to any of these or can think of some other ones. I will talk about adjustment, how to decide, being Americanized, what people think, boredom, inability to divorce in the Philippines, having children, language, and a lack of faith that you can even get this done. Please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea to learn about the process of pursuing a Filipina to marry and how to stay married to her. Essentially, that is all my channel is about. Go ahead and leave questions. Check out my website, lvbts.com, designed by Mr. E, and I have podcasts you can listen to there as well. Let's start with this one, possible threat. How she would adjust to a new country. You know, many of us would like to have our Filipina come to be with us in our country. I'm here in America. You have no way of knowing if she won't be able to adjust, and there are practical things you can do to help her. Filipinas have learned how to adapt to many countries, which should give you confidence. She will need your attention and plenty of time to adapt, along with you allowing her to work through homesickness. She will probably want to spend a lot of time on social media, so much it might even be shocking to you at first, which I think you should allow her to do, especially early on. This again is something I never even thought about, because when I met my wife online on March 17, 2015, I'd only started to seek a Filipina. It wasn't something I had been planning and studying for a long time, and I wasn't expecting to find someone so quickly. Laughing here because Isa is talking on the phone a mile a minute upstairs. She has a snow day today because it might snow, they say 16 inches, and it is really coming down. So she's excited about that. And my wife has adjusted very well. Speaking of the weather, she has adjusted to this terrible weather today. She drives very well in the snow. She even, I think, tried to make her first snowman the last time it snowed here, and she was out there today. Something she had to go to got canceled, her work got canceled, so she's home, went to the store, bought some things. You know, you like to do that when you're going to be snowed in for a while. Get some, I think chili is a really good food to buy when you're going to have a snow-in period of time. So she's upstairs talking a mile a minute, very excited. But she's adjusted well to being away from the Philippines. She's certainly adjusted now to the winters over here. She drives, she works, she runs our household. She gets along well with my mother, who lives with us. She is respected at church and where she works. It hasn't all been easy for her, but she has persevered. I am very proud of her. She has rarely talked about missing the Philippines, although I am sure she does. Another thing, potential threat for you would be like how to narrow down my choices. Online dating in the Philippines doesn't even resemble dating online in the United States. You actually have potential, many options with a Filipina. You will discover you have more options than you probably know what to do with. Instead of allowing that to be intimidating, you can see it as giving a great chance to find a wife. There's no perfect Filipina. Work on knowing what to look for and realize that she can't marry you if you don't propose to her. I think marrying a Filipina is the simple part. It just comes down to which one, and like this video series is about how comfortable you are. I can talk to you about the fear of being Americanized. You hear that a lot. You know, see the live stream I have called 29 Ways to Prevent Your Filipina from Becoming Americanized or Changing. And I also have a regular upload about that, which is a shorter version. I understand the reluctance. That's why I put a lot of thought into that topic. This phenomenon does not happen to everyone's Filipino wife. Honestly, I talk about 29 things you can do, everyday things, to help prevent her from changing. I have not seen any other videos, do anything about this except claim that it is a surefire guarantee that she will become westernized. But I disagree with that. You can't control her, but you are able to influence her. See that video called 29 Ways to Prevent Your Filipina from Becoming Americanized. Another thing to consider is what people would think. This is more important to some than others, but it is always a good idea to get feedback from people you trust. I wouldn't keep pursuing a Filipina a big secret. I believe that in finding a wife, it shouldn't matter what people think if they are predisposed to being anti-marriage. Marriage is God's idea. It's a great one. It's the hottest brand going. It's the best thing there is. The Bible calls it the grace of life in 1 Peter 3:7. The options are almost unlimited if an intercultural and interracial marriage isn't a stumbling block for you. I have two people I need to please with my marriage, and that is God and my wife. I am as happy as a pig in the mud with my amazing Isa. What if your coworkers talk behind your back? They probably will. Some family members object to it. That's possible. Some of your friends avoid you. That could happen too. They could be jealous. Your real friends, the real ones, aren't going anywhere. I don't want to live my life trying to satisfy people who only think they have my good in mind. A good Filipino wife is a tremendous blessing. I know Philam couples who are very satisfied, who feel like they have to pinch themselves. One fellow from work confided in me that when he was younger, he wished he had done what I did, pursue a woman from another country. Now, it's a good time for me to remind you that if you are younger, you're in your 20s or 30s, look, you can still find a wife in the Philippines. I think it may be even a good place to start anymore with the way things are in the West. Now, some people may feel some disdain that you married a Filipina, while others, again, might be jealous. Still, others will probably want to find a Filipina themselves. I sure hope so. Another thing to think about is, will she get bored? She might, but there are things you can do to help prevent that. I have a video about preventing her from getting bored. I've compiled a lot of videos with many more to come, so I hope you can find that one by searching for a video called A Filipina with Time on Her Hands, Dealing with Boredom. I think it is a good idea to help her learn to drive so she can go to work. Including her in your social circle, spending ample time together, continuing to date each other. Allow her to communicate on social media as much as she needs to, and don't pressure her to adjust faster than she can. Encourage hobbies, social work, help her to find friends. Another thing, not being able to divorce, I think, in the Philippines, makes some people uncomfortable. To me, this was a good thing. If she is unable to divorce me, then fine. I don't want her to. We married in the Philippines because she wanted to marry there. She wanted to be around family. She wanted her family to be there. So we got married in front of, 150 guests in Davao City. Divorce is not legal in the Philippines. We could talk a lot about how people take advantage of this. But I just felt it was a positive that there was not divorce in the Philippines. You should also be thinking about her desire to have children or not, or your desire to have children or not. A very valid concern, considering most Filipinas that don't have children want to have children, even if the foreigner is a lot older than they are. Something to talk about before marrying, for sure. I have a live stream I did called Having Children in an Age Gap Marriage. Maybe it was called Should Age Gap Marriages Have Children? One might be the title for the upload, and maybe I did the live stream with a different title, but you'll see it. It's all in there. Just do a search for something like that. Now, this can be a gut-wrenching decision when you understand how much she desires to have a baby, if she doesn't have one. And it is definitely important to her. Another thing, language, you would soon find out this is not likely to be a concern. Her understanding of English, for example, if that's your language. My wife, I don't think, learned English until she was around high school, but she speaks well, as you can tell if you check out our playlist called Just Us. There's probably about 160 videos in there. At her age, she will continue to learn the English language better, get used to past tense, present tense, future tense, and how some words have multiple different meanings. English is not an easy language to learn. I think many foreigners in Filipinas can attest to having some communication challenges now and then, but that's nothing that can't be resolved. With my wife, texting is where there might be some misunderstanding between us. At one time, we both decided to just stop texting for a while because we kept getting upset with each other. But that didn't happen when we were doing webcams for some reason. Another thing here, lack of faith, lack of belief or trust that you can do this. Although there might be others, the last one I will list here is a lack of faith. Somewhere inside you, you will need to have the drive to pursue a Filipina and the belief that, like so many others, you can find one. Not only that, but you will, need to, you got to tell yourself, I need to find her. I can do this. Bob found somebody. Other people I've seen on YouTube found somebody. You got to believe that you can find her, and that, like these other men, like myself, whatever risks there were, it was worth the reward. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I want to do all I can to help you to come to that conclusion, but I'm not going to pressure you. Whether you go through this process quickly or slowly, there should be no second guessing. Ideally, a man would pursue hard and with confidence that they can guide and keep this marriage together, and that's what I want to help with. I just thought about another possible threat to marrying a Filipina. That would be karaoke. Karaoke. Of all these things I've listed here today and in the other two parts, the most challenging of all just might be having to sing karaoke, especially if you're not prepared or confident. Well, you can always practice, in the car or in the shower. Those are good places to practice. I think karaoke is fun, but at first it was intimidating. It took my wife and I 3.5 years of marriage before working up the nerve to do a duet together in the Philippines. But it was fun. I look forward to it all the time now. I want to do it more the next time we are in the Philippines, hopefully later this year. We'll see with all the COVID situation. So here's a quick rundown of the 17 threats to your comfort zone with a Filipina.
Are you taking video?
Yes, I am. Almost done, hon. Almost done. You can stay here and look beautiful as I finish up, or you can do what you're going to do.
I don't know that you're taking video.
I am. It's perfectly all right.
I'm sorry.
No. Don't be sorry. You will help make this video a smashing success because you're so amazing. I'm just listing some ways here that a man could be intimidated to pursue a Filipina, and I want them, of course, to be as comfortable as they can. So we're going to be very detailed and just finish off this list, my love. And then I'm going to go up and shovel that deck because I know there's getting to be a lot of snow. You need to use a computer? Okay, well, let me finish up, sweetie. Okay. All right. Well, here's a quick rundown of these 17 threats over 3 videos. I'll just run these down. You can always go back and watch them. I think they'll probably be pretty much put out consistently, or I should say consecutively. I might toss one in with this very inclement weather we're having right now. But things I've mentioned here: different culture, not sure of interracial marriage, maybe something you just never thought about. Getting scammed. People are always saying, oh boy, don't you dare, you're going to get scammed. All kinds of ways to get scammed. Well, there are things you can do to prevent that too. You might say, well, it could just take too long to get to know them, too far away and all that. You might think, well, younger wife, I don't want a really younger wife. Well, you don't have to have a younger wife. There's this visa process. Communication, you might say, this is just too far away. You could say, well, how would she adjust to a new country? How am I going to narrow down my choices if Bob says there's so many women to choose from? This fear of becoming Americanized. I'm sure it happens, yes, but I want to help you do some things to take some control over that. What people think could bother you. Will she get bored? She might. There's things you can do. Not being able to divorce in the Philippines, whether to have children or not, language, is there a barrier there? Just the lack of faith that you can make it work. And of course, maybe karaoke. So I'm going to try to list as many of these the video titles that I've made videos on in the description box. We'll see how far I can get with that. That will help you with being comfortable pursuing a Filipina. A man will need to overcome these threats if they are going to find their love beyond the sea.